Hey everyone, Matt from Soundrolling.com, and I'm here with Paddy, who's sound mixer on Game of Thrones and many other shows as well. And we're just, of course, going to be talking more about sound mixing and location stuff, as well as some sound design and maybe even some music production as well. So hi Paddy, how's it going?
How are you? Yeah. Hello everybody.
So the first question, as always, is just how did you get into sound? What was your journey?
The broadest question. Years ago, we did catering, and my family business was catering, so we did all these like big concerts and stuff years ago. So from the age of like 10, I always wanted to be the guy behind the big desk, controlling what's blowing people away. And that was it. I wanted to be a music engineer, like a live music engineer. So straight after school, I don't know whether I even qualified for colleges, but I just went and I did like a City and Guilds music. Back then, what was it? It was sound engineering and music technology. Music technology was just kicking in. I think it was 95. So I just did a year course in sound engineering and music technology. I don't even know whether I passed it. I probably shouldn't say that online. But made me way through it, and then I ended up working for bands. I worked for bands for like 4 years just doing backline, and then I started doing some live sound. Live sound kind of freaked me out. I just didn't like, I was more about recording and live sound with just the intricacies of just acoustics and controlling it, and then, you know, keeping a crowd happy where they're all in different areas of the room, and some places it sounds shit, some places it sounds good. It was just too kind of random and uncontrollable for me. I didn't like it. But anyway, I stayed in backline for years, did some location sound, and then I went into pro audio sales. I wrote a lot of music. Even when I was in college, I got introduced to MIDI, and I was a big raver years ago. So as soon as I seen that stuff, I was like, bang, like this is what I want to do. I was going to be the Chemical Brothers. I was going to be Underworld. So I was always writing music. Then I got into pro audio sales. Basically, the place I went to hire, I used to hire keyboards for a weekend, sit down, write tracks. And I went into them one day and I just said, "Do you need anybody for the shop?" And it was a high end shop. It was a good shop. We dealt with all the studios in Ireland, all like the main broadcaster, RTE. So it was straight into dealing with all this stuff, and I think I spent three years there. So continuously writing music and dealing with all these people, I just got to know audio inside out and just the way things run, and you know, all the terminology that I had difficulty with in college. It became run of the mill. Do you know what I mean? Then what happened? That place closed down. And I went into music composition. So I started writing music for documentaries with a composer. I know this guy, and he does, I shouldn't mention him. I don't know whether I should mention him or I shouldn't. But he has kind of, he works a lot in theatre in Ireland now, and he has it kind of cornered. He's a very, very good composer. So I was basically his engineer, or he'd come to me with projects and go, look, they want this. So I'd sit down, and then the two of us would compose soundtracks. So we did like 10, 15 documentaries. Then I was always writing as well, writing techno. And it was like maybe 4 years just writing, thinking that I was going to be, you know, techno star, as you do.
Yeah.
Then I got sick of it. I realized I was just kind of banging my head off the wall, or I didn't realize, like, music is luck and timing, so it just wasn't happening. So I just started to travel, and while I was traveling, I studied more like music theory, and just kept going that way. And I was in Africa for 6 months, and I wanted to collect like a sound library. I'm always collecting, you know, even on my iPhone. They're great, you know, just for collecting little just nuances and different sounds. But I had an old, Jesus, back then, what was it? It was like a mini disc recorder, and I bought like a little crappy stereo mic that you just plug into the jack.
Yeah.
And I was in places out in the middle of South Africa, like people chanting and different masses going on and just all different kind of atmos and ambiences. I was a big, what are they called? Future Sound of London fan. So, you know, I was into just sound spaces, you know what I mean? And creating that kind of thing. So I went around and I recorded just random stuff. I even cycled around Africa on a bike.
Wow.
And then I went to Australia and I ended up doing sound design for a video game. But all these little things, like the video game was just online. I never met the people. They go, right, we need these sound effects. So I'd go off and I'd record all these sounds. Just as well, again, with the mini disc and just a little crappy mic. And the weird thing was for the video game, it was for Game Boy. So it's 8-bit.
Yeah.
So what you had to do was, I was always, because of my engineering side, I was always going away, recording all this, you know, as best I could.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get it back and then, you know, dirty it up, edit it down, dirty it up to get it into 8-bit, it sounded completely different. So then you had to use your mind to go, look, okay, what's going to sound like that? You know, what's going to sound like a bullet hitting a wall? And you end up just like out. Like I worked with horses. I was down the yard and like just throwing screws against corrugated iron for like, you know, hits, body hit, like ammo hits and stuff like that. But all that stuff made me, I didn't realize at the time, but all that stuff was making me aware of all the little fine details of sound. You know what I mean? Protect the microphone, put it here, get it here. You'll get it cleaner if you do it this way. I wasn't working with good mics. In Australia, actually, in those years, in the composition years, I worked with theatre a lot as well because of that guy that I was composing music with. So I got to know a lot about actors. I got to know a lot about dealing with people, with creative people. And working in backline as well, you're dealing with creative people. They may be bands, but it's all creative people. So I'll tie this in at the end. When I was in Australia, some guy asked me to spec his movie, and it was like a low budget film, some guy in the local town. So I went off and I looked into different bits for him. I looked into like different microphones, what he should buy. And I was always, because of my sales, I'm always trying to help you out. You know what I mean? I find an awful lot of audio people, they go, right, you need this, you need this, you need this, you need this. And they're speccing shit that's like up here. But because of my sales, I'm always trying to help you or, get it into a package that suits you. So I went off, and that's when I started researching Sennheiser, and that's where I found Sanken. Sanken were, I think, only kind of coming in at that stage. So I spec'd this movie, and it didn't go ahead. But, it kind of got me thinking about it. And then I came back to Ireland after that trip. Went through Japan, recording loads of stuff again. And I got back, and I was helping my mother at one point. I lived with her for a while, a year. I was trying to get back into bands, and, nothing was kicking off. So someone, I don't know whether it was me. I think it was me. I just came across stuff like on, like Mandy.com. Yeah. There's like an Irish version. There's a version for every country.
Yeah.
And I started doing a couple of shorts. And, I registered to do a course with a guy called Noel Quinn in Filmbase in Ireland, where I ended up teaching. Right. And I thought it was for post sound. From my sales days, I always wanted to be the guy that was in the control room with the lights. And I don't know, maybe I'm like a woman, flashy lights. I get distracted. Or a magpie. What do you call it? So I did a few short films, and I liked it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed getting on with people, the interaction with people, having to think things through. And I enjoyed it. And then I went and did this course with this guy, Noel Quinn. He did, he's been up for an Emmy. He was a boom op in Ireland for many years. And just a lovely guy. I think when I met him, he was like maybe 65 or something. But he quickly, when I went into the course, I was like, this isn't post-production. He was like, no, it's location sound. And he said, bear with me for the weekend. And he said, and I'll explain to you. And by the end of that course, I was like, grand, I'm going to try this out. This is brilliant. And he said to me as well, he said, look, you have a wealth of knowledge. He said, you could start this tomorrow. So that's it. I went out and I bought some gear. I still kept doing the shorts. Now, I only did like maybe say 8 to 10, not even for free. Not for free, but, you know, for whatever they want to give you. Then I bought some equipment and I kicked into just charging people that little bit. And then I fell into like TV. You know, you get asked to go out and do interviews and stuff. And that's how it kind of kicked off. And then the main thing, what I wanted to say about the actors and the bands and all that kind of stuff, dealing with creatives, dealing with sound design, dealing with music. Like, basically, I went through all the different types of sound before I got to film. Like, film wasn't on my radar. I wanted to be a rock and roll engineer and a superstar. Who doesn't? But it was only when I got to film and doing short films, people actually pointed out, they were like, my God, you're really good. You're good at this. You have a great understanding of it. And it's because I went a long way around. I could have went to film school and I could have done the sound course and I could have went out and started recording. It was because I went out, worked with creative people, dealt in music, dealing with levels. I know exactly where I would need to be or what's going on. Then I, you know, walked around with a microphone, even though it was shit, just picking up stuff. I didn't know at the time, but I was teaching myself how to do it. By the time I got to it, people were like, whoa, this dude knows what he's doing. And within 2 or 3 years, I was up for awards and then people ringing me and, you know, that's how it kicked in. It was my own interest in audio that kind of drove me to this stage, you know? That's kind of it. That's how I got into audio. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that's incredible. And how did it come about that you were traveling to all these different places?
I just got annoyed. I was just sitting around writing music so much and trying that I got sick of it. And my brother was away in South Africa, so I just went, right, I'll go down there for a while. And then I came back and I was doing a bit of theatre with that theatre guy again. Yeah. And then a friend was going to Australia and I said, I'll get the year-long working visa. Right. So I went there. You know, I was just kind of trying things out.
Yeah.
Because I wrote music, because I was freelance essentially, or a bum, you could say, I didn't have anything hold me to the country. So anything that came up like that, I was like, right, let's give it a go. And lucky I did. It all taught me something at the end, you know. And then when I came back, film kicked in. And then as well, just from a creative point of view, I kind of always kept the music in the background, but then when I came back and I started making money from film, this is a funny thing as well. Like, I started making money from film and I said, oh, I'll buy myself a couple of software synths and stuff like that. You know, I kind of just got back into it. And because I wasn't trying so hard, all the music got much better. That's a little...
oh, wow.
That's a little, I suppose, hint for everybody out there writing music. It was like... I was trying all those years ago, and then it's like when you're trying to control something so much, you're losing all sight of it. Where if you're just doing it for enjoyment and you do it when it suits you, it's easier, you know. And I still do that. And then through film as well, I mix now as well. Like, I mix short films. Someone had asked me to do them a favor or whatever. So I keep that element alive a little bit, and as well because I know that it's good for me. Like, if I mix a film that I recorded, I know I'm sitting there mixing it going, why didn't you do it this way? Or, you know what I mean? What were you thinking? So it makes you more aware on set. That's not going to work, or this will work, or they want it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's always really important when you have kind of both sides of it. And
completely.
For me, when I was starting out, I kind of started doing more post because I thought that'd be more fun, more creative than location.
I thought that was the way I wanted to go.
But I just found that it was just
it's like pulling
the endless changes, and it was just.
I hate it. Yeah. It's like going to the dentist now. It's the equivalent for me of working in a bank. I sit down and I have to, like, for someone that works in a post studio, I pity them terribly. You know what I mean? Like I do it. I do selected projects that I want to do, or for friends or whatever, and I'll prep it for a day and then get up and go, right, I'm going for something to eat, or I'm going for a coffee. And then I'll, start the next day, and I'll probably put 2 hours in and go, like, have to get up and go to the gym or something. Yeah. Like, there's no way I'd sit there for 8 hours and do it. I'd sit on a set for 8 hours and listen to all kinds of bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's no way I'd sit in front of a computer screen just cleaning up ticks and, like, it's horses for courses. Some people would be that way inclined. I'm not. I need to be out. I need to be out talking to people, interacting with people, working things out. It's just the way my mind works,
Yeah.
No, the creative side, no problem. If you ask me to do a little bit of soundtrack or sound design, it's because I'm creating. It's because I'm that way involved, or that's the way I brought myself up. But if I'm sitting there cleaning dialogue, I go mental.
Means to an end, isn't it, in a way? But yeah. That's fantastic. And you still must have a massive archive then, if you're just going around constantly recording lots of sounds. Is it just like anything? Are you ever out?
It could be anything. It could be anything because of the techno.
Yeah.
It's anything, you know what I mean? You hear just like a dog makes a wail. It's like, whip the iPhone out. And it's like, I'm not running. Like I have, when I first got to New York, I did go out with I think I had a 744 with me, and I was trying out different stereo mics. Because I used to always run, I still do. I run stereo all the time. So I wanted something that I can just throw out. I used to have 2 416s on like a...
the double mount type things, yeah. But,
the way things are shot nowadays, and the speed that they're shooting them at, like dragging the shit around, it's like that. So I was looking for a single point, stereo mic. So I hired a couple when I first got here, and I went out and I recorded stuff really nice, really well. But for music purposes, or just because I think it's interesting, I don't care about the quality anymore. I suppose I think it's probably the Game Boy days that taught me that. Like, get it. It doesn't matter what it's like, just get it, and then you bring it home and you tweak it or something and do something with it. Now, I still have an awful lot of it's a great thing about like the hard disks and all nowadays is you have everything. Like I have beautiful Atmos, beautiful stuff that I've done on set, and I shouldn't say this, but I can use it now and again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And you do. Over the years, you collect some amount of libraries. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and so you're always running kind of stereo while you're doing your on-set stuff, like just always.
Well, not in a movie studio, and not necessarily in a set. But if I'm in a noisy location, I'll always do it now. I've got into the hang of doing it, and it makes sense to me. Some people look at you going like, "What are you doing?" But it just gives them stuff to play with. First of all, it opens everything up.
Yeah.
Especially here in New York. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much noise going on. You need to cover that noise to help them out. Because if you're just recording the dialogue, you're just giving them
an arrow in the back.
Well, it's just a linear point of view. It's like, give them everything there's loads of stuff going on. Give them everything and let them sort it out. Or, if the director calls cut, or if there's a car that goes over one of the lines, or, a siren.
Yeah.
I might have a lovely siren on that stereo, and they might use it.
Yeah.
Because there's none of the dialogue is in it. Nothing's in it. So it's loads of useful stuff. Or if they wanted to cut and there's a siren in one piece of dialogue, they have the siren on the stereo.
Yeah.
So they can cut it. They can cut between the actors and just drop it in, and it's there. You know what I mean?
Nice.
And I know that kind of stuff it's from mixing as well, It's like you can have the stereo sitting there for a scene and just use one of them. Just use one element of it and just drop it in under the whole scene. And then you start mixing your dialogue, you have to do an awful lot less mixing because it covers an awful lot of the shit up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, natural room tone type stuff.
Yeah, I'm not being lazy about it, but it just, I think it helps the process.
Yeah. Hey, it's forward planning if you're doing it on set.
Completely. And I think it was the noisy locations thing that got me. Like what Richard did was one of the films that we were doing in Dublin, and that's with a reputable Irish director. So I wanted to try me best for him, and I respect his work. And we were in a place called the Phoenix Park, which is in the middle of Dublin. It's just a big park. But we were filming around a tree. But on one side of the tree, you know, there's the road. Then on the other side, there's like a playground. And then, you know, on each camera angle, the background noise was different. So it's like, right, do I go in and I grab all the dialogue for these people and just leave them with it? Or no, just create a bed with them, you know, create a bed for them. So when the camera angle changes, it's probably the opposite to what you're looking at. So say if you're looking at the actors.
Yeah. So if you're looking at me.
And the kids' playground is behind you.
Yep.
I'm getting the road.
Right, okay.
But then when I'm looking at you and the road is behind you, I'm getting the kids' playground.
Yeah. So then you can blend the two and they don't overlap because, I see.
You can either mix them in and create a whole picture.
Yeah.
Or else just use that atmos for that shot.
Yeah, fantastic.
You know what I mean? So you're giving them more. Probably shouldn't be telling you this. This is all my tricks, but I'm sure loads of people do it. Even to have one up and let them do like a pseudo stereo or something in post. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I got the you have these people as well that are like, no, you need to get the Shopes and you need to get this and you need to get that. You need the best equipment to do it. It's like, well, no, you don't. Like you're working a 2-man team on a mid-range feature. And you know, that's why I wanted the single point mic.
Yeah.
You know, you can't be running around with loads of gear. You have no trainee. You haven't got time. And I went for the Audio Technica. I only got it there last year. And they used them for the Olympics. And it's just a single point. Do you know it? I think it's a 4029.
Okay.
And it's grand. You just set it on, it'll give you a tire pickup if you want to use it just as like a shotgun, or it gives you the wider stereo.
Okay, nice.
And it just goes up on a pole on a crappy, you know, a stand.
Yeah, cheap mic stands, yeah.
Like if you've 2 tracks there, why not run it?
Yeah, no, definitely. In a world of ISO as well, there's no reason not to. Right?
That's brilliant as well. Like it kind of messes up the art of mixing.
Well, yeah,
but at the same time, you know, it's so handy. And that's the thing. If it's taken down your mixing input or work, use it for other things.
Yeah.
Like I was in a warehouse here the last feature we were on just over Christmas. I was in a warehouse. There's a big noisy road on the left. We're recording dialogue down one end of the warehouse. And then out this side of the warehouse there's a train track with trains going past.
Wow.
So, you know, I had everything. I had the road. I had even just a radio mic over on the window capturing the rumble of the train.
Right.
And the dialogue, this is all stuff that's just going on. And then you're in looking at the dialogue and you're recording and mixing the dialogue.
Yeah.
But if you have the tracks and you have ISOs, why not fill it out? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't know, what else was I doing? We were in the city and you know, the AD comes up to me. I was asking him what was going on, and then the actor runs out, nearly gets hit by a cab, and then but this was the scene.
Yeah,
you know?
okay. I thought he ran out and nearly got hit.
No. This is the scene. The actor runs out, nearly gets hit by a cab, and then, you know, takes off after someone over across the road. So I said to the AD, I was like, right, what's going on here? What's the action? And he's like, none of your sound will be used here. It'll be all. And I was like, are you serious? I said, you can't say that to me. I asked him actually to keep the talk down around the camera. But because it was action and in the city, he just went, oh, no. this will all be posts. And I'm like, shut up. You know what I mean? So then I had a stereo up high. What else had I got? So I had a radio on the actor. So, you have the stereo image of what's going on. You have the actor, he's huffing and puffing. And then as well, there was a subway just not too far away from us. So I mic'd the subway. So then they have this subway. So when they cut into that scene, they can take the subway out of the last scene and it can blow into this bit of action. You know what I mean? Like you're giving them tools. And for someone to walk up to you and go, no, they won't be using your sound. Of course they will. And I'll help them actually build tension, and I'll help. Like, it's a creative thing. It's bringing creative tools to post. Where an awful lot of sound people can be very linear, and they don't. You see, I think that's the mixing. I think it's the music composition and stuff like that. You're thinking about mixing. You're thinking about layers. Where I think some people that go through sounds, it could be anybody really, but some mixers, they just think dialogue. Yes, our job is to get the dialogue as best we can, and that's the first thing we should do. But then if you have a bit of spare time, give them everything.
Yeah, I suppose it's just like, instead of thinking about it as just dialogue, you're thinking about it as preserving performance. Because at the end of the day, if it doesn't work in a cut or it doesn't work with anything, they'll probably just go to ADR, or even if the line's kind of fine, but the background's horrible and they can't recreate it. So preserving performance over just getting dialogue also then just makes your kind of job more creative. When
you have to have input. That's the thing. That's what I'm after. And I actually like the mid-range features. Not necessarily with first-time directors or whatever, but you're dealing with people that are more, they'll listen to you. Like when you turn around and go, oh, you need to do it this way. I had a director last year, and he worked on a film. He's actually an actor in one of in The Sopranos.
All right.
And he worked on a film where the sound guy didn't record it very well, and they had to ADR everything. So I was in there and I was doing my thing, and he could see, straight away he was like, I know you're good, Paddy. And I was like, yeah, I enjoy what I do. And at one point I was trying to explain something to them on set, and I was tired. The hours here are ridiculous. Yeah. And I was saying to him, you need to do it this way, you need to do it this way. And everybody was like, yeah, let's roll, high speed, slate. And he stopped and he goes, no, we need to listen to him. And he was like, Paddy, speak, tell them what. And I was just like, oh my God. Let's do it this way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thinking things through. Just not getting, just expanding your vision to not just dialogue. Get the whole picture. Get the whole area.
So in when you're thinking, do you take this to kind of a pre-production thing, or is it just kind of on the day, right, this is around me, so I need to get da. What's your kind of process?
At this stage of the game, I just turn up and I record it.
Fair enough.
I kind of have it down to a T, my style or what I do.
Yeah.
Certain pre-production things though, like I did one film that was shot on many different cameras.
Yeah.
So we used the onboard mics and stuff like that. And then did the last one. So you give them options. So the last one, they were using a lot of 7D stuff. This was meant to be really crap video that he's looking at on screen. But then it would cut in and out of that into the scene. Okay. So, generally what I do is I feed guide tracks to cameras and stuff like that. And then I was like, actually, no, what we'll do is let's just get the board. I'll record good audio. Yeah. And I said, let the 7D just record its shit audio, So then if they want to give the sense of space, they can use the shit audio off the 7D. And then if they want to create body or something, they can just push in the good audio a little bit so it's all intelligible, but it still gives you that sense of you're in the camera, not on set. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then there was another one. The there was it was more shot like a documentary and stuff like that, and I did that as well. I left the onboard on, but then it was just to give them an option. If they ever want to drop out of movie mode into reality mode, you can drop the viewer into it by the audio as well, you know. So that's a little bit of pre-production, yeah.
Yeah, that you put in. Nice. And are you having any conversations with DPs beforehand as well, or is it just kind of on the day with the AD and the director kind of sorting out?
Mainly with the director. It's more of a stylistic thing, so you'd be talking about that kind of stuff with the director and then bring it up at the production meet.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of DPs, I've never come across a DP that was an asshole. Maybe a couple of times, but like if you're bringing them creative ideas, people always open up to creative ideas. But if you're walking up and going, "Oh, I need to jam the camera now," then they, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I've never, when you're bringing a creative idea, I've never had anybody kind of shoot it down. They're always going to listen to you, you know?
Yeah, fantastic. And are you? Oh, sorry. Go on.
Just once you bring it up at the right moment.
Of course, yeah. No, being kind of tactful with everything is always the best. Is this a good time to mention that?
Yeah. Well, the actor's having a meltdown.
Yeah, exactly.
What I think we should do is we should record it this way. It's like, go away. Yeah. That's it. Like 50% of it. I tell people that all the time. It's like I think it's like anything, but even more. I think like 70% of it is how you deal with people, how you interact with people. Because everybody's on set, everybody's tired, everybody's doing their job. And it's not that they don't care about your job or, you know, it's not that they're ignorant. It's just they have a little tunnel that they're looking at. And it's to understand that and just not come across like a dick on set. Once you're easy to work with and once you're nice to work with, if you're enjoyable to work with, people be like, get him back, he's brilliant. You could be, your work could be average.
Yeah.
It could even be shit. But once people like it and get on with you, it's a big thing. It's a big plus.
Yeah, I suppose if you're spending like hundreds of hours with these people, then you're going to want to take the time to
they become family.
Yeah.
I'm very as well on set, even with bigger sets. A lot of people would shoot me for this now, but I operate out of a bag. Like in these days in this technology, I operate out of a bag, and I'd be hard pushed to go to a cart.
Ah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Is that just personal choice? I mean, is that
it's a personal choice? And one of the things, that's what I was running into. One of the things is I like being on set. I don't want to be this guy that's stuck in a room 2 rooms away, looking at little monitors and not really interacting with people except for the boom up. I believe the boom up has the floor.
Yeah.
And they get on with people, and it's their job to represent the sound department, and they will have their own relationships and stuff with the people on set.
Yeah.
But I like being there as well. Like on Game of Thrones, I used to turn up and just walk around, and the AD would be like, "What are you doing?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I just came in to say hello. How you doing?" And he'd be like, "I'm not used to this." He said, "Usually when I see a sound mixer on the set, it's like there's something wrong."
Yes.
You know, I think it's very important. By the end of a feature, I'm like best friends with everybody. So you need that. Like any creative process needs that kind of gel. Yeah. And I think to be a guy that's just sitting out the back, you know, it's just not my preference. Like a lot of people do it. It's just not my preference. And then with the bag, you can just walk straight into set and sit there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've had directors look at me and go, "Is this like, what are you doing?" You know,
is your stuff broken? Did you get stuff?
Did you not get it out of the car?
Yeah.
But I know people as well now. It's just the way stuff is shot now, and it's the technology, you know. Yeah. And I know people. There are older style mixers. Like there are jobs where the cart is perfect. It's going unstable there. Are you back?
Oh, yeah.
There are jobs where the cart suits it and it's perfect and it's fine. It's just I haven't, because I move around so much. Like I was at a certain level in Ireland, and then I get here to New York. You know, it's going to be a couple of years until I get up into where I was in the Irish standards.
Yeah.
And I just never kind of pushed onto the cart. Some people would shoot me for that.
No, yeah, it's really kind of, yeah, I think it'll be refreshing for a lot of people watching, just that you don't have to try and just, again, it's just the outlay on gear is already so expensive. But if you've already spent it on a good set of mics, you have a good mic, why not be in the room as well and save yourself a battery, a car, and the extra expense just for...
A lot of people feel, I think a lot of people have it because they feel like they have to have it.
Yeah.
Just having the balls on some sets just to walk straight in, and people will look at you, but then they'll just get on with their job.
Yeah, that's true.
If you could sit there, like I'm used to using is it the CLA?
Yeah.
I have it down to a fine art now where I'm just like it's fine. Amazing. Yeah. I use electrodes. I use a 788.
Oh, right, yeah.
And once you're there's a certain standard of gear that you should have.
Yeah.
You have to have it to operate in the professional circles. But then it's not down to all of the equipment you have or the amount of equipment you have. It's about how you use it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like coming from music where you have like 24 channels, 32 channels, and you're doing this and you're doing that. Coming down to having to recording like two people talking. When I first got into sound for film, I was like, "What you want me to record that dude speaking?" yeah. And it was like, this is easy, you know what I mean? But so it's about how you do it. It's about how you mix and about how you capture and your process of thinking to post. If you could think for post, think for the editor, you're winning, And then as well, I used the 302 for some TVs. Like I started with the 302. Gear-wise, I'll tell you what I did.
Yeah, no.
I started with the 302. I use ambient poles. I liked them. At first, I got it at first, and I was like, "Oh, I don't know about this," but I like them now. I started with a few Sennheisers.
Yeah.
I started like with a TV setup. So a sound device is 302. 2 Sennheisers with MKE2s.
Yeah.
And that was it. I was doing TV with a 416.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And the AK-47. And that was it. Like I went around doing a lot of stuff with that. And then I bought a HDP2, the Tascam. It's a 2-track compact flash thing.
Nice.
Looks like that machine, but it's compact flash.
Yeah.
I did my first feature on the 302 and the HDP2.
Wow.
And I was up for an award for it.
Amazing.
So that's the thing. So a 302, a Tascam 2-track recorder, and 2 radio mics.
Yeah.
And at that point as well, what I did, there was a lot of stuff of guy walking around the city in Dublin. So, cables were, first of all, they were dangerous, and then it just didn't make sense. It wasn't practical. So I bought one of still use it today, the SKP 500s?
Oh, yeah.
The plug-on transmitter?
Yeah, exactly. And just
the boom was on that for a lot of the film.
Right, nice.
That film, that got me an IFTA nomination.
Wow.
So that's proof that, I wasn't even running electrosonics or didn't have like a proper, well, it's terrible to say a proper recorder. But, it's about how you use it, not about, if you're not getting signal, don't go out and spend $2,000 on a big antenna array.
Yeah.
Walk up closer.
Yeah.
I
think that's another argument for the kind of cart scenario as well. That's what I was really interested in, because a lot of extra stuff comes obviously with the cart if you're not there, for instance, just standing next to the director in Video Village or something, just with your bag and just being able to, I can just watch this. I don't have to fork out all that or plug into camera. Or
yeah. Now at the same time for that film, even though I had lowbrow kit, I still had a boom up. I always have a boom up, and I always it is movie style mixing. You know what I mean? I'll sit there with my bag. Like my bag now is so heavy that there's no way I'd strap it to myself. And I sit, like, it's a whole setup. I have a stool, I have the bag, I have another bag. I just have it all so compact and streamlined that it works. But in essence, I still have to sit down. I still have my sides. I still have everything. So it's still a cart. Like it still operates as a cart. I'm still mixing. It's not like I'm a reality guy standing there swinging the pole myself. Like, I disagree with it. It's just wrong, you know? And I've been, especially here in New York, because there's so many people here, they have money, they have stuff, and the gear is here. Yeah. And when I first got here, it was 2 years ago, I think. And I was just getting, you know, I was getting offers of like, you know, I'll give you this per day. And it was like, okay. Was, you know, you're trying to get into a new area. And it's like, oh yeah, but we've no boom up. And it's like, okay, no. I'm not, like, I just won't do it. It's not, like, maybe if you're my friend or if you have a pickup for a day or two, yeah, grand. But if you're asking me to do a feature by myself, you're nuts. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I don't agree with it. And that's the problem with the bag. The problem with the bag is people are just hopping on jobs and, you know, they're going, oh, I'll do it myself. Maybe now I think I did like a low budget feature years ago, but it was more of a doco scenario. Yeah. You have to do a couple of those kind of things starting out. There's no, like, I've nothing against that. Everybody starts out. But to be constantly going out and doing it and then doing mid-range, you're mad. Yeah, you won't. It doesn't help. Like, it's not, you're just gathering, you know, you're not mixing, you haven't got eyes on levels. Yeah. Your swinging's going to be shit.
Yeah, all your levels are going to be shit. You've got a choice.
Like, everything's going to be all over the place. I know things make it easier nowadays, but we deal in crafts. The technology's getting better, yeah. The technology's getting smaller and whatever, but it still is a craft. Like, a good sound mixer is there because they're good. It's like the equipment doesn't, you know. There's another point, you know. It's not the equipment. The equipment is brilliant nowadays. It's how you use it. It's down to how you use it and how you integrate with people and how you operate as a team.
Yeah, completely.
I used to, when I started out as well, I used to bring someone in as a trainee, but now I won't bring them in unless I can pay them. People have to be paid for their time. I don't mind people coming out and shadowing me for a day or something like that. Yeah. But if I have to have a trainee, you have to get money. There's no, you know.
Yeah, if you're taking a month as well, or doing bigger projects, I mean, how do you expect them to live?
It's more
gratitude.
And people play off people, you know, being into it or wanting to get in and stuff like that. But you have to be real. You have to. People have to be paid. And the trainee, it seems that it's kind of going by the wayside, and I think, I think that's terrible in a way. You know what I mean? Because there are times now. The mid-range, there's an awful lot of films now, and they think they're bigger, but the money's not bigger. So I don't mind going on a two-man job when we all understand that we're all just getting stuck in, we're getting this done. But then you have people that want you to do a two-man job and they think they're like a Hollywood film.
Yeah.
Then you need a trainee. You know what I mean? You need someone to run, get coffees. You need someone to run cables. You need someone to run and do this and do that.
Yeah, you know? Batteries, anything. Yeah.
And you will run into producers and stuff that are kind of inexperienced in that way. They just don't know. And they're putting you under pressure. So I suppose it's not them. Sometimes it's them trying to get away with it, but sometimes it's down to you just having to go, no, we need it because of.
Yeah.
And I'm a big one about trainees. I like having a trainee around, you know what I mean? Even for, you know, I've had guys out that are super experienced in the music world. They know nothing about what we do. So even for them to come out and, like, they have a huge understanding. They probably know more than me about what's going on, you know, technically. But, you know, even to have them out and just be teaching people, you need that. Instead of people just jumping in the deep end, it's not good. That's where people get shot.
Yeah.
Shot in the foot.
Yeah. No,
It's true. I think it's important that people can just be able to first. I mean, it's first all about just being able to get yourself to charge more and just be in that kind of place, just to be able to kind of see what you're worth. But then also, instead of then just being on that kind of hook and just deciding about more money at the cost of kind of better work, it kind of doesn't.
Yeah, no, I'd rather sacrifice money for everything running better.
Yeah.
When everything runs smoothly, you're going to have a nice day at work. You're going to have a nice, experience. It's going to be a nice project for you. I'd easily give up $200 or, a week to have that. And to know that I'm teaching someone something, or to know that there's that support, or there is a bit of a system in play.
Yeah. Where
for €200 or whatever extra a week for me to be running around like a headless chicken,
yeah.
it's worth so much. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. People just want money, money, money. It's like, no, I'd rather pay and have a proper team.
Yeah, and especially when you put that into like an hourly rate as well, it turns into like fractions of pennies.
We're still doing you a favor, but I think it's still important. It shouldn't be forgotten. You know what I mean? I think the structures shouldn't be forgotten, even though the gear is making it a little bit easier to do things. The whole team should be the same, because you still need that team to do the creative job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the worrying thing is just like, for instance, what happened with, I guess, what's kind of happened with us in terms of gear, and now people are just kind of starting out as lone rangers. It's kind of, we still, even though we did that, just like the camera people with the 7Ds did that, they still had the aspirations of having the full team.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of them. Yeah. And I think they're always kind of striving for that. Whereas here it's kind of seen as, I don't know, I hope that it can still kind of uplift, but I'm kind of a bit, it's just kind of hard. Yeah.
I think as well, over the years, you have to start off, and you probably will end up having to do them. There's no...
Yeah, no, definitely.
There's no denying that. But it's important. It's like doing your first few short films for nothing, or for hire. Like if you're in a situation where you have equipment and we've no money, it's like, okay, well, at least give me hire, so you're getting something.
Yeah,
that's the way you start, and then people realize that you're good at what you do. If you
I hope so. Yeah,
and then you make your way up. But it's important. That's the thing. It's important to realize your worth. It's what you said there a second ago. And the time to step up. Yeah. So you need to go, at times you just need to say no. Whether it's going to cost you a couple of grand on a project or something, there is that time where you need to go, actually, no, I need to pass on this job. Then you're putting yourself into the next step, and you are working your way to what your dream was in the first place. But if you keep saying yes to people, you'll end up swinging your own shows for the rest of your life with a broken back.
Yes.
And be really pissed off about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, completely. And the funny thing is as well, is kind of, for me as well, just, I suppose it's only been the last kind of couple of years that things have kind of come into their own, but it kind of seemed to be kind of just natural points. If you just kind of, it's not quite that you're sick of it, but it's just kind of natural. You just go, no.
Kind of is natural, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I found in Ireland as well, I think I found where you just, as you mature with your work, you meet more mature people.
Yeah, that's the other thing, yeah.
You'll meet, on your way, you will meet producers or whatever that'll go, oh, you need a trainee for this because it's 2 cameras. Or, oh, you need, what are you going to do about the boom up? And that opens you up to going, okay, yeah. I think if you're good, those steps will naturally happen, yeah. But it's important to take them instead of going, oh, no, I'll do it all myself for you. Like, well, no. Yeah.
Do this again.
So it's important just to realize when you're to step up and when you can step up. But it will happen naturally. And there are some producers I'll always go back to. I'll always work with them. And there's some producers I'll always work with them. Because, if there's an issue, it's like, right, can you do it this way? Okay, we need to listen to him. But there's so many people nowadays. It's the technology thing again. It's making it easier for everybody to make movies, and a lot of people that shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And you have to deal with them, and you have to put up with them. You know.
Yeah, I think thankfully, I don't think they last that long. Hopefully.
No. If you're worth your weight, you know, you'll go along and you'll keep the ones that are worth not money to you, just people that you like working with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I used to, going back to the shop, I bought my first sampler years ago, an Akai S2000. Thought it going to be Underworld again. And you know, I was sitting there and writing music and going, and then dealing with all these guys coming in, and you know, all that stuff got cheaper as well. And a lot of people came in and bought it. And I was standing in the shop one day, and I was like, oh, this is bullshit. Like, everybody's doing it nowadays. And the guy was telling me, he said, look, they'll all buy samplers, they'll all buy synthesizers, they'll all buy this, but they'll try it for a while, they'll pull their hair out, and they'll go, fuck this. It's about your determination, and it's about what you do with it. So that'll always happen. And I suppose that's the thing about the worry of you see them on the internet now, you see them in groups, oh, it's all falling apart. It's not falling apart. It's just you need to ride with it and just keep your contacts and keep your own kind of integrity there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, completely. Again, it's I think as well, it's like the allure of like being it's like the 21st century way of like being a really good painter or something. It's like the identity of being like on a film set, or yeah, I do films, or I'm a cameraman, or there's a certain, maybe not with a sound man, but there's certain types of
in Ireland, you might have it in England as well, but England might be a mix. But in Ireland, you know, I was Paddy Hanlon. You know, you walk on set and people are like, oh, there's Paddy, yeah. And it felt like you did good work, and it felt like you were known. You know, you're known for good work. I came here, and still, after 2 years, it's just like you're the new guy. Or you know what I mean? Right. There's no film here. Now, I'm going to get shot for saying this as well. There's just a different look on it. It goes on so much here, and it's been going on for so long. The kind of romanticism is taken out of it. You know what I mean? You're just doing a job.
No, it's business, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure after a few years here, I'll get to a level where I feel a little bit more comfortable. But there is, like, you could be working in McDonald's, you know what I mean, on some jobs, and it's like, Jesus, why did I do this? But I know, like in Ireland, you do good work, you'll get good work, and it's just a matter of time, you know.
Yeah, completely.
I suppose that's the thing for people if they are starting out or whatever. It is time. But always bring your best to a project. Sometimes you'll be on projects and it'll be very hard to bring your best because the people will be giving you a pain in the ass. Yeah. But it's important. It's important for you just to kind of always bring your best work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
sometimes I don't. You know what I mean? Like there are times where it's like, oh, fuck this.
Yeah.
But generally, if you are bringing your best to most projects, you'll be fine, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And it's important for you as well not to just kind of lose it, especially over like one or two bad projects or bad people, and think, well, everyone's like this, because there's actually 100 million people kind of blagging it, faking it, making it all over the shop.
You always run into a couple of projects that you're overworked on, or you have a bad time on, or whatever. But generally, I stand around on many jobs and go, oh, I've had it. But sitting here now, I could safely say that I've never really come across real assholes, or I've never really had a really bad time. You know, you get fed up. Everybody gets fed up in work.
Yeah.
And it is hard what we do. Like in Ireland, they do 10-hour days and 1 hour for lunch. I don't know what you do in England. What do you do?
Same, yeah.
Here, a standard day is 12 hours. Nuts. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, what are you doing? And then they go into overtime. Like they'll shoot the call sheet. Like in Ireland, we'll go and we'll shoot for the 10 hours, and you might have to drop a couple of scenes. Or, the director and the producer sits down, they go, right, we don't need this, let's do this, let's fit this in another day. Here, it's like, no, we're shooting until it's finished. It's like, what? Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is, more and more crazy stories are coming from that kind of overwork as well, unfortunately.
Well, maybe it's, hopefully, as I'm saying, it'll improve for me. But that's the area kind of that I'm in now. But it seems to be commonplace here,
Yeah, it's tough.
But grass is always greener.
Indeed.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Nothing
else.
No. Well, in terms of how about so when you're doing just a location mix, what's your kind of relationship with post-production? Because I imagine that's kind of you're a bit more active with that as well, or?
Completely.
Yeah.
But when I started, sorry, I think I was rubbing the mic there. When I started out, and I don't know whether it's just me or whether it's from music or whether it's from whatever, but I've always, in the organizational end of it, on set, like, I'm a little bit more creative and open to shit. If I have a noisy mic, grand, we're getting it on that mic. Do you know what I mean? I'm a little bit more easygoing. But in my organizational skills, I need to have everything approved, done, and know. By day one, when I walk onto set, I know exactly what's going on. You can't turn up and go, oh, what frame rate are you running on? That should have been done in a production meeting. So I don't know. I've always done that from an early time, even from when I first started out. Like, I used to do me notes, and like the first few shorts I did me notes, and then I went home and copied them out so you could read them properly.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was just very detailed about it. But I'd always contact post. It's the first thing you do. It's like, right, who's shooting it? What are you shooting it on? How many cameras? Who's the DP and who's post? So you get straight on to post. How you doing? I record this way. This is what I'm recording. I'm doing slate, digi-slate, guide track, whatever. And this is the way my tracks run. You get someone to go, yeah, okay, that's grand. I walk on set and I know exactly what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? But you need to do that. I think you need to do it, definitely. And then if you open up the conversation with post, they could say to you, look, on this scene, like this party scene, could you get us this and this and this? So then you're talking, and the project gets better. You know what I mean? You're not two separate entities. And the thing is as well, you need to always think like all these arts or all these crafts are coming together to make this project. So your mind has to be on the project, not your own little department or like, oh, we've gone into a meal penalty. You know what I mean?
Format everything.
Yeah. Just the more you open up and the more you talk to people, the better the project will be and the easier it'll be for you. And like, just get it out of the way. It's only an email. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I'd always open it up. And then as well, in Ireland as well, I'd be known for, like, I know all the post people. And that's because, like, I walk into different places and it's like, oh, Paddy, how's things? That's because I talk to them. And I know some people wouldn't think of it. They just don't do it. Well, I think for me, it's very important. Open up, talk to everybody.
And are the post-production people that you're usually working with getting kind of rushes while you're still shooting? Are they able to give you feedback as well?
Yeah, and as well, I've had a few funny looks about this. I don't know whether people think that you're beyond it or whether, that you're at a level of your career that you don't need to do it. But after like the first few days, I always go, I'd go to the line producer or the producer and just say, have we heard from post yet? Like, I just like a little report to say that they're happy, or is it, and you get these funny looks. It's like, well, why wouldn't I ask that? Do you know what I mean? It's like, we'll ask for you.
And then they stare at you for a while until you walk.
Yeah, it's like, why? Is there something wrong?
You know
what I mean? No, there's nothing wrong. It's just like, I like to hear back. I like to hear that everything's going okay.
Yeah.
That's it's the most important thing on a set is communication.
And
Ask an LD.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it probably helps you as well, I guess, if, for instance, posts say that you need something, and you can then communicate on set that it's not necessarily coming from you, but it's being specifically asked by another part of the kind of sound team. Does that kind of feel that kind of helps you out?
Like they can back you up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It happened to me one day on Game of Thrones. I don't know whether this is relevant or whatever, but, you know, me being the way I was, I just seen, and the horse was chomping on the bit a little bit too much for my liking. So then I was getting, you know, in between a turnaround. It's easier on the bigger ones because you'd like ages. On the turnaround, I was out getting the horse just chomping.
Yeah.
This guy walks over to me. He says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm just getting some wild track horse here." And he goes, "Look," he said, "sorry." He said, "I'm the sound designer, blah, blah, blah. I just wanted to introduce myself." He said, "Jesus," he said, "you're doing amazing work." He said, "but don't worry about it. There's a whole department." He says, "We're going to get all that." You know what I mean?
Oh, was that Andy? Was his name Andy by any chance? No.
It's a while ago since. He's an English guy. Do you know him?
Oh, well, I spoke to him. I did another chat with him as well, and we talked a bit about...
Yeah, very nice guy.
Thrones. Yeah, Andy Kennedy. Yeah.
Maybe. Well, he came up to me and he was like, "Look, thanks very much. You know, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all."
Yeah, so, fantastic.
That's the thing. And then that put me completely down. Like on that, I wouldn't have done the
stereo thing.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're in a medieval world. You just need to get, you need to get the dialogue. There's a generator over there.
Yes. Wind machine. Yeah.
So with that, and as I said, on the bigger ones, it is a little, that was quite theatrical, you know what I mean? Man walks in, man says something. Man walks in, man says something.
Yeah.
So even though, that's the thing as well, I suppose, for people in certain areas of their career or whatever. You walk, I didn't know what that was when I was going to do it. I was just like, "Can you do a day or two?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." And then I ended up on it for ages. But, you know, you walk in and it's this huge thing. Like it's a huge, huge setup. But always at the nucleus is the same people. It's just camera, sound, an AD, and whatever, you know what I mean? So when you walk on a set and it's just massive, just keep your head and just, you do your own thing. It's like working on a documentary crew as well, you know what I mean? You set yourself up, get yourself ready, then help the cameraman or whatever. In a huge scenario, just do like any other set, like any other short film that you've been on, any TV shoot. Just forget about the size of it. Just sit down and do it. And then after an hour, you'll be fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, very good advice.
But that was, Jesus, that was some experience. Yeah, it was a great one to do, you know. It was a great experience. Mad.
Yeah, I've heard some crazy stories about it.
Yeah. But like lovely people then as well. Like you get to a level. There was one AD on that. There was one scene we did, and there was a woman, and the guy was behind her, and he's talking to her. The cameras say facing up at my face, and she's doing this with wreaths. She's talking to him, but she's doing her work, you know. But at the time, she wanted to do it.
Right.
Or was it that she wanted to do it? No. Basically, sound. I got her not to do the wreaths, so she's miming the action.
Yeah.
And we got the dialogue, so that's fine. And then, you know, we were up against it, and the AD said, "Look, we can't get the wreaths." And I was kind of like, "Oh shit, whatever," you know what I mean? But then I was like, "I'll get it some other day." But then, you know, it was what might have been the next day, but it was the next day or it was 2 days later. And he comes back and he goes, "Look, Paddy, I have those wreaths set up." He said, "If you want to go in and do that now." And, you know, on mid-range stuff or whatever, you know, you need to get it there and then because you'll never get it again.
Yeah.
But then on the bigger stuff, you're dealing with people that just know. They know everybody else's crafts. They know and they're aware. And if they say they'll do something for you, they will. And it was nice to actually integrate with those people, like actually it's kind of a respect thing. It's like, you know, if you ask for something, they just do it. There's no, you know, from being on the mid-range or the lower budget stuff, you know, sometimes you're just pissed off asking for things, or else, you know, you get to a stage where you're afraid to ask for it because they'll just go, you're mad. But it's ignorance on their behalf because they're not experienced. Yeah. Where on a set like that, on the bigger sets, you go, look, I need room tone, even give me 10 seconds. They'll all just stop and do it. That was interesting for me, or it was like, right, okay, maybe there is light at the end of the tunnel, or maybe there is a ladder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the thing as well. I suppose in relation to careers and people thinking, oh, you know, I'll do this job and then it'll be the bigger job and then it'll be the bigger job and then it'll be the bigger job. That, to me, is, what's the word for it? It's a bit of an illusion. Like as your career goes, yeah, you'll get to be on bigger things, but you'll always have to do smaller things in between. I think.
Yeah, that's true.
What we do, you need to accept. Look, you're going to be on a random shit job, or else, you know, you might do someone a favor and you could end up standing in the middle of a field in cow shit for 2 days, going, "What did I do?" Yeah. Like the whole thing of like, oh, I'm always going to be working up a ladder. That doesn't exist. Just as your career goes on, you'll have the privilege to work on some great stuff, but accept that you'll always work on shit stuff as well. Yeah. You know, it'll always go up and down.
Yeah, I think it's instead of a straight line, it's just more of a
it's open. Yeah, it's like
and hopefully the average is a nice line.
Yeah.
So it's not just super great, super crap.
But. Well, that's nothing else.
No, I suppose it's just maybe. So a few of the people that I've been talking to, for instance, are you picky about footsteps when you record? Are you trying to kill them all? Are you keeping some of them in? Obviously, when you have no choice, you probably have to. But
I used to be easier going on them. Now I'm a bit more picky.
Right.
I get mats down all the time now, to be honest.
Right. Yeah. No, it's good to
in a realistic manner. Do you know what I mean? Like
carpet a football pitch, probably not, but
yeah. Like I have 3 or 4 big mats, and I have like 2 or 3 6-foot thinner ones.
Right.
And you know that's the area where you know you're going to get your dialogues on the close-ups or whatever. You know, that's the thing. Don't be going carpeting the whole place or whatever. I know, like some sound people are pretty anal. I think it's more the music kind of thing. It's more the rock and roll thing where I let sound happen. Like, you know, like micing as well. Like some people do be here.
Yeah. I
don't get that. Like that's vocal booth kind. Like I deal in space. So you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like let the
feel the room type thing. Yeah.
Don't be on top of them. First of all, you're invading their space. They're trying to do a job just as much as we're trying to do a job. So don't be over them. You know, they're trying to remember their lines. You know what I mean? So all these mics are designed to work like a couple of feet out. You know what I mean? And even those shapes are amazing now. The CMIT.
Yeah.
You know, there's hard. I'm just easier going. I'm easier going on set as a person, and I'm easier going about what I get. But I know when I need to get something. So the footsteps, I'll calm them down in the general area. But if they're walking, you know, every scenario is a little bit different.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But even scuffs and stuff now kind of bother me. Where years ago I just kind of recorded what was there. I kind of did have mats. But now, like any kind of, you know, you get actors kind of, you know, wrecking their own lines, like dragging their it's like, what are you doing? Like, okay, you're doing it to other people. Now you're doing it to yourself. And then there's different styles of actors. There's actors that you just get. There's actors that are there because they're pretty and stuff. And there's actors that are there because they're lucky and they got into it. And they haven't gone through the whole kind of etiquette and, you know, basically the training. So when you get a really good actor, technically, if they're good, you bang, it's like, wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, even saying the same line in the same way. I've worked with some people, and then when you get it in the edit, you're like, oh my God, that I can use that alt because that guy's just like...
Amazing. Some actors I do look, you know, that's why there's awards and stuff. Because some actors I do look at and I work with, and you look at them and go, wow, that's amazing. Or you know what I mean? Just simple things where they're putting things down. They're not. Yeah, and as well on other shots, like on the other actor, they're completely, I'm not going to do this or I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
It's such a pleasure to work with an actor that's aware, you know?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like the technology, like loads of people going out, you're going to get actors that are inexperienced as well. So you're just going to have to bite your tongue and try and explain it. There's no, like, instead of getting all huffy, like I get huffy sometimes, but instead of getting huffy, you know, walk in and just say, look, do it this way because of this. Like, let them know. Inform them. And then they'll go, oh, actually, that makes sense.
No.
Instead of going in, do it this way. You're doing it wrong. The cranky sound man, you know, the cranky sound man.
Classic stereotype, yeah.
It is a classic stereotype, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
Get up off your hole and go in and talk to the actor and ask them to do it that way. Now, integrate instead of sitting there fucking your pen against the wall. But mats, yeah, I'm a big believer in mats nowadays. I don't know why. It just makes the area safer. Like anything can happen, and then, you know, you're in. And then as well, I suppose, over the years, it's experience as well. Over the years, I'm learning to let things go. You know what I mean? If you're there as a sound man and you're there to help the AD is there to help everybody as well. So you're all there. Yes, you're there to record great sound, but you're also there to record what's there. Like if you turn up and the location's noisy, do your best to try and calm it down and do your best to try and cover it. But don't get freaked out if it's a mess. Like, first of all, it's a locations issue. You know, I record what's there. So if you give me shit sound, I'll record shit sound, but I'll do it really well. You know what I mean? And just don't let it get you down. You know what I mean? Don't have a bad day because they just landed you in a pile of shit. But if you're in control of something and they're not cooperating with you, yeah, lose the head. You know what I mean? Yeah. And an awful lot of the time, it's not because they don't care about what you're doing. It's because they haven't got a clue. They don't know. Like, camera person isn't thinking about, you know, or a dolly, you know, walking. Oh, his footsteps is all over his line. Like, really experienced ones, yeah. But, like, don't walk out and go, yeah, you're fucking doing it wrong. Or, you know, take your wet pants off. It's like, yeah. You know, it's like, then you're just an angry little man running out. You know what I mean? Instead of going, look, you're all over this person. Oh, it's like, yeah, okay, we'll take them off. You know what I mean? But as well, kind of wider shots and closer shots. I'm more selective now about what I get. You know what I mean? If we don't get it all in like a wider shot, I'm not that freaked out anymore. You know what I mean? Once we get it on the inner one, and then, you know, if there's a good take and one word is gone or whatever, they'll probably drag it out from the last one. You know what I mean? Like, so generally every take for me now is kind of okay. Like I used to put detailed comments in on the notes.
Yeah.
Now generally everything's okay.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's fine. It's okay. Like, it's in there. Yeah. Knowing that within what we shot, the scene is there from an audio perspective. Like, everything doesn't have to be perfect. And I know some sound people would completely disagree with me. I know that
I'm seeing a really wide spectrum, to be honest, of people that are doing the super detailed, and some people that'll just they'll name the scene and they won't name tracks, they won't name anything. Oh no,
like I name the scene. What I do is I do the scene and the take number, and then I do handwritten notes. I know an awful lot of people do the iPad and all that kind of stuff nowadays.
Oh yeah, you can with the
But I always have my folder with the handwritten notes. I have to. If I want to say fuck, I want to write it down. You know what I mean? There is I don't know. It's the way I started, and it's the way I prefer to do it. Some people look at me and go, "You're mad. What are you doing?"
And are you, for instance, in your order of tracks, are you doing it in terms of order of people on the call sheet? Are you doing it in terms of like how you're putting people on tracks? Obviously, boom on 1, on 6, on
Boom,
8, or
boom on 1.
yeah.
So if you're mixed tracks, I always do mixed tracks. So
2,
I have the left or 1 as boom, 2 or right as radios mixed.
Yeah.
Then you're into the ISOs. But then after that, on the ISOs, I go boom.
Yeah.
And then it deals on principal. So an awful lot of people you'd have like a principal actor that's going to be in most of the film.
Yeah.
He or she will be up first. Then I kind of go with, it's kind of like, it kind of naturally falls into place then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So,
or else sometimes, like I have a couple of SMAs, I have an SMV, I have a couple of 400s. You know, whatever way you have them set up, sometimes that dictates where the tracks lie.
Okay, yeah.
If the woman is wearing like a really tight dress and you could only get the SMA on her, maybe she's on track 1. Do you know what I mean? Because I had that as a principle. You know.
I see, yeah.
But I will name it. Like I'll sit down nowadays. A while ago, not too long ago, like I would have just put, it would have been just boom, radio 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
I never named. But now, before, like that's part of me setup, I'll always format before the job, and then I'll put in all the names. So then it's a thing of just flicking to the name for that person for that day or track or scene.
Yeah, because they'll save on the list, don't they, on the sound devices?
Yeah. I think some people say that the names don't go into some editors or some maybe Pro Tools or something, but that's not my problem. That's the thing as well. I think when I started out, and I think it's maybe a natural thing as well, every issue that was brought to me, it was like, oh, I need to sort this out. Oh, what have I done? Yeah. It's like now, it's like the dialogue as well. It's like I kind of know what I want and I know what I need. If someone comes to me and goes, oh, the sync is a little bit out, it's like, well, you have a guide track and you're bored. Go away. You know what I mean? It's like certain things I know. That's half of our skill is knowing what is an issue and what's not. And that's just down to experience. Yeah. The more you do it, the more you'll know, it's fine. Kind of reality TV taught me that as well.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, tell us more about just reality TV setups and just how crazy it can get.
Over here, it's nuts. I'm sure in England as well, it's nuts. Like you have the huge control room with all the different screens.
Yeah.
Then you've rotoscopes. I worked with a man, God bless him, he died this year. And he was very helpful when I got here a couple of years ago. But I was doing one of the tattoo shows with him. Wow. And he had it down. He got sick of... That's the thing. People here, they treat it like a job. You know, maybe in England and in Ireland, I'm a professional. Like, I bring myself to the job. I'm proud of what I do. I like what I do. I love my job. Here, I think, I don't know what it is about the Americans. It's just like, oh, yeah, whatever, I'm a sound guy. So he was getting sick of people not turning up for work, all this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So he basically just had 2 audios. So you have an A1, which is your audio assist. It's basically like a boom up here.
Yeah.
And then you have an assist. Maybe I'm saying that wrong, but anyway, you get the gist.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, he had it down to a thing with, he had an iMac. So then each room, each tattoo room had, you know, buttons for each character.
Right. Wow.
So then each room just had buttons, and they had like a rotocam, you know, in them, you know, like say, what's the one, it's a mad program, English program, one born every minute.
Oh God, yeah.
That kind of thing. And then you had 2 Roman cameras with a sound guy.
Yeah.
But he was able just to, you know, well, whoever walked into the room, he just pressed that button. And that sends that character to do it. And it all just worked on, you know, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Automated? Or?
Not automated, you know, signal-wise. you know, you weren't mixing necessarily. You very rarely had to touch the mix. It was just signal ratios. You know,
Right.
all the way through the system, the signal ratio was just, he worked it out very, very well. So it was just like, really, for some shows, you're just sitting there pressing buttons on a screen.
It's just like whack-a-mole or something. You see it, click, see it, click.
Exactly, yeah.
Amazing.
It's a different animal, you know? Like,
yeah.
It's great for me to see these things and to be able to walk in and work on these shows, but it just doesn't interest me. I have to be on set. I have to be talking to people. I have to be working with different crafts to create. It's a creative thing for me. Now, some people are different. Some people are, you know, they're money orientated, and it doesn't matter what it is once they're taking in the money, because reality here is a big thing.
Yeah. No, those guys are running ridiculous amounts of kit as well.
Mad kits. Mad kits. You know, you walk in and it's like, whoa. And it's not stuff you're taught in film schools or whatever. This is stuff that they're making it up as they go along. Like on one show that man had, it was another tattoo show. He had 48 radio mics. 48 radio mics and then a couple of booms. So like, it's colossal. It's just a completely different animal to feature films. It's not one that I'm interested in, but it's mad what they do here. You know what I mean? I'm sure they do it in England as well. Like,
yeah, no, they must do as well. Yeah, it's just you're the first person that's had some like proper hands-on experience with it, and it's just really interesting to try and because from the outside you just see people like rigged up like Rambo with all their
I did The Apprentice years ago in Ireland. We did The Apprentice, the first one. And that was horrible as well. You know, you're running around after people, 4 or 5 radio mics hanging off you, 7, 8, 8. And we were tethered to the camera.
Oh, wow.
And you're swinging a boom on whoever else walks into the frame. That's, like, it was fine. Do it once. We did one series and it was like, grand, don't call me back. We didn't get the call back for the second one for other reasons. But it was just like, no, once was enough. It just, that whole reality thing, it just doesn't turn me on. And it's a personal thing because I'm more creatively minded. You know what I mean? That's what turns me on.
No, definitely.
There's nothing wrong with it. People make an awful lot of money from it. And I recommend everybody jump in at some point and have a look at it.
Yeah. No, it'd be really interesting to see. But I guess it's that whole thing of like, we're both kind of an art and a craft at the same time, and it's kind of this awkward like handshake between the two all the time. So some people are just more left than right, I guess.
Yeah. So. But the reality is its own. It's a mad animal. But that's, you know, it's strictly business. You know, and that's what ruins. That's what kind of ruins it for me. Sometimes, you know, you're sitting there and you're doing an interview or something, and the producer is like, you tell them, say this, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need you to put it this way. And for me, that's like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, no, it's factory farming for documentary.
It's the furthest thing from reality, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that, for me, kind of just brings me down.
Yeah. No, same here. It's just insane rigs at the same time. Well, I'm very conscious that we've taken up a large portion of your morning.
It's always a pleasure to talk.
Right behind.
Always a pleasure to talk to fellow nut jobs.
Yeah. Well, no, it's good. I don't know if you have any kind of final things. I'm sure we'll do a chat later on in the year or something. But
no problem.
Have you got any other kind of final thoughts? Maybe a nugget of advice on top of your
advice?
Yeah, just for anyone out there. I don't know. What makes you successful?
I suppose don't be afraid of things. Always know when you need to step up. What we were talking about, just know your worth. And then, you know, if there's a job that you think you're biting off more than you could chew, don't be afraid to let that one go and just come back to that stage the next year or whatever. You know what I mean? Don't run in and mess yourself up. But at the same time, never be afraid to kind of jump in the deep end. If you feel like you're able for it, take it. But do your prep. Prep is everything. And communication, post, the producer, everything. And just do it in emails and just make sure it's all down in an email so you can go, look, we said it here or said it there. You'd be amazed at little hiccup kind of things that happen when you're shooting, And digi-slates. I don't like digi-slates.
Ah, okay.
Don't buy that shit. I think they're obsessed by them here. I don't know what it's like in England, but I've been working in film for 7 years, and I've only used one once or twice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With all the technology, send a guide track, use a dummy slate, the Alexas, the Amiras, all that stuff, just jam it. Who needs more sync? You're going to cost yourself $2,000 or £2,000 for some camera person to keep dropping it, and then you have to send it back and get it fixed.
Yeah.
Like the standard slate was working for years. Like it made sense, I think, for film and stuff like that, so they could see it. But now in this day and age, like I wouldn't. And it annoys me here because you know what I mean. Like because I'm essentially starting off here. Sorry, I'm going off on a rant.
No, it's good. It's good.
But essentially because I'm starting off here, you know what I mean. I'm having to go in and haggle with producers. Like, okay, this is the rate. This is the rate. So my whole thing now is I'll do this rate for you, which is grand. I'm arguing up to a standard rate and it's fine. But I always add in at the end, I said, if you want a digi-slate, that's your expense. This money is going to stuff that we actually need, like radio mics, comms,
boom operators, yeah.
Stuff that will make this project happen. You don't actually need the digi-slate. With all the different kinds of sync going on nowadays, you don't need it. And you'll see an awful lot of them going, no, but we have to have this. And it's like, no. Like, you're just doing like everybody else. You think you need the flashy numbers. It's like, no. Like, it's just an expense.
Yeah.
So an awful lot of people would shoot me for saying that as well. But that's my main gripe with the industry at the minute.
No, fair enough.
I don't want that. I don't need it. You know what I mean? And then as well, don't the locket box and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like what I do is I put a guide to the camera just over a small Sennheiser.
Okay, so you're using G3s for them.
Just G3s. Everybody's listening on Sennheisers, and then all the feeds are G3s, and then the boom up has its own feed, but all on G3s because we don't need good quality. It can be, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then some sound people, and that's the thing. It's the thing about thinking about people again. It's like, oh, we put a locket box on it. Like some people put like the 411s on the camera and stuff. You know, the Electrosonics receivers. What are you doing? That guy has to put it up on his shoulder, run around with it or whatever. Like the locket box, I'm about to get one just for walking around and syncing.
Yeah. No, that's what I use mine for, yeah.
There's no way. Fair enough, in reality or multi-camera shoots where they're picking up and stopping and starting, yes, it's a necessity. It has to be there. And that's where the digi-slate is more suited, I think. Do you know what I mean? But I'm specifically kind of talking about film. Yeah. But I just want a little box now where I can hold it, sync it, and then walk up, jam it, and then do it after lunch. Like, I wouldn't strap it to the camera. There's no need. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just use your logic to help the other guy out. They very much appreciate it. And then when you need a bit of help, they'll help you, no problem. Where if you run up and go, oh, this is the way it's done, they'll go, oh, whatever. Another sound guy.
I think it's a very fitting end point. Definitely. Yeah. Everyone loves it at the end.
Yeah, be open to helping people out. And point it out to them. Just say, oh, I'm not doing this to help you out. Or, I don't want all that shit on the camera. And they go, oh, he's cool.
Nice.
You know what I mean? But I'll always send a guide nowadays.
Yeah. That's interesting. A few people are doing that now as well.
Yeah, it's for sync. It's for basically, if they want to play back, they can just watch it. And then second of all, if by all means the camera was pointing up in the air when the slate was clapped and the sync was all,
yeah.
You know what I mean? They could pluralize it or use one of them kind of programs to do it,
Yeah.
And that's another thing about getting in contact with post. You can say, look, this is the way I do it. Or do you need me to do it another way? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like on the last job that we did, sorry to go on more.
No, please.
Not the last job, but the previous job that we did, I had that whole digi-slate argument and they needed to get one. They wanted to get one anyway. And I said, look, you rented them. And they did. strictly because whatever it was a newer kind of sync program, and it relied on the code.
Right. Okay. That was.
I don't know what way it was doing it, but that was when I learned, yeah, okay, whatever. And actually, it was grand because I used that as the sync. So to jam everything, you just go around with the board and jam everything.
Right.
Instead of dragging your bag around, dragging the 788 around.
Yeah.
I was just looking, there's these little cool things now. I think it's, I forget the name of it. But it's like a little sync box that just goes in your hand. You can jam it, and then it's not a locket. It's like half the size, quarter the size.
Yeah, there's a few new ones out. There's the Moz Gear, or that's the one. Yeah.
So that's the one I'd go for. You know, for the movie cameras or whatever, and just walk up every now and again and bang. Just give it to your boom up, or give it like here. You can give stuff like that to like the camera assistants and go here. Just jam it every now and again.
Yeah.
You know, take all the expense, not the expense out of it, but like the clunkiness of it, of the whole thing. With all the technologies nowadays, it'll run more streamlined if you kind of work it out and think it through.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, fantastic. No, fantastic. I will definitely be back for another chat.
Yeah.
No
problem.
Drain you some more knowledge.
Yeah.
But
I'll fill you in on the American system in a year or something.
Yeah, no, exactly. Tell me how it's going. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah. All right, man.
Yeah, well, all that's left to say is we'll have a little chat offline, but just for the purposes of kind of the chat, I'll just say goodbye from everyone and just leave you with the final goodbye.
Take care. Pleasure.